Hey, good times 3 ton. How many drawings are you gonna finish today? 31, let's go! Heyo everybody, it's me, your local noob artist and all-rounder genre writer, Ku times 3 son. It's been a while. As you can probably tell from the title, yes, I am a procrastinator. Sometimes my brain just switches on and I can spit out content like nobody's business, or it switches off and I'm just staring into space thinking of everything I want to do but will not do because my brain and body won't cooperate. I hate that. That's why I took on the Inktober challenge to battle procrastination, improve my skills, and think beyond the box, testing my creativity and most importantly, to have fun. Now, if you don't know what Inktober is basically this art challenge that's held every year in October. Let me read the information off the official page for more context. The Inktober Challenge. Jake Parker created Inktober in 2009 as a challenge to improve his inking skills and develop positive drawing habits. It has since grown into a worldwide endeavor with thousands of artists taking on the challenge every year. So the rules are as states. 1. Make a drawing in ink. You can do a pencil underdrawing if you want. Post it, hashtag it with Inktober and Inktober 2024. Repeat. Whatever you decide, just be consistent with it. Inktober is about growing and improving and forming positive habits, so the more you're consistent, the better. That's it. Now go make something beautiful. I will. And post it on any social media account you want, or just post it on your refrigerator. The point is to share your art with someone. So that's why I'm here. And that's why this video is also here. Plus, I really do want to share the journey of 31 days and my overall thoughts and the important things I gained from this challenge. And hopefully, I can inspire some procrastinators like me out there to try and challenge yourselves to do activities like this. Alright, I've explained what Inktober is, now I'll explain what I'm doing. I've added a rule of my own to make it more challenging for me. I cannot discard whatever I draw on paper, period. And what I mean by that is, when I start sketching and inking that drawing, whether I like it or not, I cannot throw it away, get another piece of paper, and make another drawing. Once I start, I won't be able to scrap it. This challenges me to be careful, to improvise if I have to, and to face situations like this in the future with a prepared mindset. Whatever I'm working with, I have to finish it. Also, because I don't know what went through my brain at the time, but I printed every prompt for each day and glued it on the sketchbook in chronological order, and it's a hassle to rip it off, rip the page off, and place the prompt in another page, which turns it into a non-chronological arrangement, and that would make me go insane. So basically, this really encouraged me to try to be careful. Another challenge! I'm also not allowed to prepare a sketch beforehand, so my life. Explanation. I'm allowed to think of what I draw for the next prompts, but not allowed to prep a sketch to see if it'll work or not. I'm also allowed to search for reference because there were some things that I had no idea how to draw, but I'm not allowed to look for ideas. Challenge accepted. My brain has to brain. It's there. I gotta use it somehow. Brief intermission. I actually got a sketchbook for my videos! This is the official Ku times 3 son sketchbook. Pretty neat, huh? So in future traditional drawing videos, you guys will be seeing this sketchbook a lot. End of intermission. And I believe I've explained all that needed to be explained, so let's head right into the main show of the video. This is my honest experience of Inktober as an artist who has to deal with IRL things, procrastination, college, content creation, dreams, and motivations. I have my successes and I have my failures, aka I hope I'm not just ranting. Seriously though, I'll just enjoy the whole journey, the whole process, and not stress too much about it. I consider art to be fun for me, and it is. It's Inktober time. Okay, so I f***ed up already. I forgot Inktober existed until the 4th day and I was like, oh yeah, Inktober is a thing. A thing I actually need to accomplish in my life. In other words, I got this video idea on October 4th because I forgot it existed and I'm sorry. I've actually attempted Inktober before, but as a procrastinating artist, I obviously failed. I failed on the 4th day, coincidentally. This time, I will change that. I thought that if I document it through video, I'd be more motivated to finish it. Okay, so yeah, because it was the 4th day, I had to rush everything. I did not set up my camera, a place to do the challenge, all that stuff. Nothing. I was ill-prepared, so everybody, I'm so sorry for the poor quality, but this is what I had to work with, and I'm already failing. Rush commentary, go! Day 1, bag, got it done. Something simple, something cute, and it was just rushing. My brain did not function here. My brain functioned here. Day 2, discover. Okay, so when I read that, it was just a really broad term, and now I remember how challenging Inktober really is because it really tests your creativity, so I was like, f*** it. I decided to go for a fantastical setting where the character looks through a portal and discovers a whole new world. Discover prompt, accomplish. Day 3, boots. What can I say? Boots. Day 4, exotic. Okay, so after drawing the third prompt, I decided to set up the workstation. It was really difficult to draw while holding my phone. My perception was off and it was hard to draw without worrying if the camera really got a good shot of the drawing. So let me explain myself here in case anyone wonders what the hell kind of setup they're looking at. So I'm drawing on the floor with a wooden stool as my table because my desk doesn't have a thing where the phone holder thing can latch onto. So I'm on the floor, the phone holder thing latching onto my desk, and everything is, well, everything I do is budgeted. DIY. Make do with what I have, because it's possible. And hands! Moving on. Day 4. Exotic. Because it was really difficult to hold the phone, I wasn't able to record the sketch process, but here's the idea I have. When I read the word exotic, the first things that came into mind were exotic birds and exotic flowers. It was a really simple idea, but I really had a lot of fun with this piece. Okay, so the paper that I put behind the page I'm working on is my trusty partner when it comes to protecting the next page from heavy ink. It's been with me through thick and thin, as you guys can see from how messed up it is, but it's one of the best things I can count on. I was genuinely happy with how this one turned out, and I was really surprised that it came out so well. I was really scared when it came to inking the whole piece because my hands would shake sometimes, or what if I blinked at the wrong time while attempting a clean stroke, worries like that, but I'm glad it turned out really good. I'm so happy with this one. And so it worked out fine. I missed the first 3 days, but it still worked out, I guess. I think I failed. Day 5, binoculars. The brain cells have left. I really couldn't think of anything creative for binoculars. I didn't even know how to draw binoculars at all. So honestly, there really isn't much to expect from this piece, and I'm disappointed in myself for not being able to do enough for this one. Still, I'll look on the bright side and say that I drew cute and decent looking binoculars. This is one of my lessons learned from this challenge. Of course, I won't force my brain to hurt itself to try and think of creative things. That would only hinder from actually doing so, I think. So I'll try to be more creative in the future and work on that aspect. Day 6, trek. Okay, so trek basically means like a long journey. You have to bring more equipment with this one, expect to travel miles and miles and miles, and so on. I decided that I would like to work on drawing a simple background, practice with different ink strokes and such. I don't consider this one at my best. Looking back, I made some mistakes with the shading, but I think it turned out fairly decent, especially since I'm getting the hang of drawing backgrounds, which I'm very terrible at. Day 7, passport. I looked up a reference and it couldn't be helped that I saw the Mr. Bean one, and I knew what I had to do. Not much to explain. Passport done. Day 8, hike. It's the shorter version. It's not a long journey like trekking, not much equipment needed, and things like that. When I thought of hiking, I also thought of walking and spending time with dogs. So while I'm drawing here, let me explain what I'm wearing in case anyone asks in the comment section. Am I wearing the same thing every day? This is a jacket that I decided I will only put on for videos. I do not go out wearing this jacket. It's still clean in the end, and there's also this thing called washing it and then drying it. So I can wear it every day for sure, or whenever I do a video like this. Back to the drawing, I've also decided that if I come up with an idea where I'm drawing his animals, I'll make sure to draw it because I also want to practice that. I'm not the best, as you can see, so I'll work on it. I'm also drawing a background to improve from the trek one, and this is the result. Day 9, sun. Sun, sun, sun. I had no idea what to do. A circle with 8 rays, a cute sun. I wasn't about to have a repeat of what happened in the last few days. I had to get creative. I f***ed up, kind of. Okay, so I had this idea of drawing a human body with a floating sun for a head. I don't know why this suddenly popped up in my head, but it did. And I really did think it was a cool concept and idea. I still do, it's just that I messed up. I can't undo it. I can't start again, and I'm forced to see this mistake forever. To distract myself from looking at the wonky ray, I decided to make this random background. I messed up again. It was hurting my eyes. Damn it, but there's no going back. I had to finish it. Even if the background was stressing my eyes out, I'll give myself a pat on the back for trying something different and for finishing day 9. Day 10, nomadic. When I think of nomadic, I think of the travelers, and they're usually accompanied by animals, so I decided to practice drawing animals on this day. I usually draw humans or characters with humanoid features, so I had to extend my scope in art and try out different things. Day 11, snacks. One thing you'll know about me is that I love food. I'm a foodie. I cook, I eat, repeat. For this one, I decided to draw my favorite snacks. I love a lot of food, so it was hard to narrow down what kind of snacks I wanted to draw, but my head at the time just kept repeating ramen. I also drew egg sandwiches, a fancy glass of juice, and some cheese sticks. Day 12, remote. Okay, next up is the remote. As I've said, my brain has got to brain, so I gotta make this remote unique somehow. And this was the best I could come up with. So basically, I'm drawing an android that's remote controlled, and it kind of went crazy and wild for a moment. Fortunately, another character comes to the rescue and stops the remote controlled android just in time. Overall, I enjoyed this whole process. I really had a lot of fun drawing the splashes to the face, shading, and all the little details that help make all the difference. I feel like I've created some crazy plot here, so it means that I've accomplished something at least. And that's it for day 12. To add, I had a chill day with this one too. Day 13, Horizon, and we're back to drawing backgrounds. When I saw the Horizon prompt for the first time, perspective was the first thing to come to mind. Now I'm still practicing perspective, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, process it, and work on it. I didn't want to take a big risk with this one, so I went for a simple idea here. When it comes to Horizon, oceans are also one of the first things that popped in my head. So we have a sunset or sunrise, however you interpret it, the ocean, a beautiful girl taking in the breathtaking view, and some floating islands because why not? I was in a fantasy mood that day, and I didn't want this piece to be boring, so I went ahead and said yes to floating islands. Day 14, Rome. My idea for this one is something simple, something cute. I wanted to try drawing chibis because I realized that I haven't drawn them in a long while. I have a really simple chibi art style with simple expressions. Honestly, not much to say other than the nostalgia because I drew a lot of chibis back when I was younger, so this comforted me more than I thought it would. So here we have a pair of cheerful adventurers roaming the lands to visit the floating islands. Yes, the floating island idea continues because I thought it would make the piece cuter. I really had a lot of fun drawing the buildings, trees, and other objects on the floating islands. I love the feeling of just scribbling and making something out of it. And that's day 14. Day 15, Guidebook. Fantasy came to mind again. As you guys can probably tell from the last few days, I love fantasy. My love for it comes from stories and video games. So when I read Guidebook, I was like, RPG fantasy. Yes, that works. So that's the idea for my drawing. Here we have a trio of great adventurers, the leader, the rogue, the wizard, and their trusty guidebook. Now what's in the guidebook, you might ask? If that's not your question, just ask it anyway. So again, what's in the guidebook? The guide to show them the way to the floating islands. Again, I really don't know what's in the floating islands, but hey, at least I had this little plot going on. I actually had a lot of fun with that. It made me think that maybe I should have made a 31-day plot from Inktober. I guess I have an idea for Inktober 2025 now. Day 16, Grungy. This is one of my favorite and best pieces in the whole sketchbook. When I looked up the word grungy, I knew my brain would work like clockwork. If you guys follow me and have seen my other artworks, then you'll know how much I draw like this. And this was perfect for me. Here I am drawing a character emerging from the black swamp, ready to lunge at its prey and drag them into the darkness. The dark substance forced down their throats as the monster completely devours them. I was so excited drawing this one because it was just my style. The idea immediately popped into my head, and with the black and white theme Inktober usually has, this was just the type of art for me. Still, I was a bit nervous drawing this because I didn't want to mess up. If I messed this up, I feel like I would shut down for a moment. Just like the past works, I had to be careful with the shading, the lines, and stuff like that. For this one, I really had to be careful of the liquid dripping down his face, hair, and body. After that, I worked on the simple background for a bit, added some dangerous liquids dripping down from the leaves, then touched up on some details of the character, then I started coloring the swamp. My trusty paper is back and ready to serve. Dang, the ink was really wet. I was scared it was going to smudge, so I waited for it to dry. After the whole wait, I'm back to inking and I decided to color in the trees as well. In all my drawings so far, I've avoided even touching the printed prompt. But the thing was, I didn't like how it stood out like this. I was having a mental debate whether to color the printed prompt or not. And my decision? F it, I colored it in. But then I felt a bump with the marker and I was like, oh yeah, I can just rip it off. You know what? I'll just rip it off. I know I made little statements about the printed prompts in the intro, but I'm not letting it get in the way of my work. So I finished inking the trees and I just waited for it to dry just in case, because I was scared it would smudge, and if it did smudge and touch this, I will cry. You will see tear marks on this page, and the paper behind the page won't do shit to save anything. So while waiting, I decided to play around with the print.
Bruh.
This print. So going back to inking, adding the finishing touches, and it's all done. Day 17, Journal. The thing is, I won't force myself to say a lot about my work that doesn't actually have a lot going on. I was back to square one where I couldn't really think of anything and just went for something simple. There's a side of me that says, hey, simple is good. You can't always force yourself to think outside the box. You'll hurt yourself that way. But another side of me says that I could do better. In the end, I've reflected on both sides and there's probably a good way I can do both in a healthy manner. Still, I know being frustrated myself is unavoidable, but I know I can manage that better. This day was proof of that, because after thinking about it some more, I decided that I wasn't going to be too hard on myself. Instead, I'll try to do my best next time and remind myself to enjoy the experience more. And I did. Day 18, drive. Drive equals cars in my head. That and other vehicles as well. I was then reminded of my childhood. My cousin and I used to play with a lot of cars, Matchbox, Hot Wheels, toys like that. I remember playing with a racetrack that came with the toy cars, and that was one of the coolest things little Q times 3 has ever had the honor of playing with. So, I'm putting that fun memory into this piece. Honestly, me judging this piece, it's not the best. I messed up with a lot of the curved lines, the way the fire looks in the middle, some unnecessary extra lines and stuff like that. Still, I enjoyed this a lot because while I was drawing the whole thing, I just thought of all the fun times I played around with cars. While day 18 isn't one of the best pieces, it holds one of the best memories for me, so it's a success in my book. Day 19, Ridge. Day 19, more like day 21. Guilty as charged here, officer. Yes, I missed 2 days. I couldn't manage my schedule properly due to being busy with some IRL stuff, but I'm not gonna excuse myself for that. I had the time to do it after dealing with the IRL stuff, but I just didn't feel like doing it. This was the Inktober experience I expected for myself. I was really happy I was doing great, and I had a longer streak than my Duolingo streak. But alas, I should have expected days where I wasn't feeling up to it. But hey, maybe if I forced myself to draw those days, maybe I wouldn't be able to draw at my best, and I would hate that. Still, I feel like I've lost the challenge and made mistakes. Anyways, let's get back to the drawing here. Ridges, so backgrounds once more. Honestly, good. I need to work on that. After drawing so many backgrounds in the past few days, I felt more confident doing this piece, with all the lines, the shapes, the shading, and what I wanted the outcome to be. This was one of the backgrounds where what I pictured in my head, I was able to make it through this drawing. I did it! And after drawing this, I felt much better and I was ready to take on the next prompt. Day 20, Uncharted. My love for video games was telling me to draw Uncharted fan art, but I was not at that level of skill. No. I knew I was going to mess up multiple times and I'd probably rip the page off from erasing so many times. I'll get there one day. I'll keep practicing after all. So for now, I'm drawing this. Is the character familiar? Good, because the Floating Islands gets a sequel. Here we have the adventurers from day 15 climbing up to reach the floating islands. The guidebook was useful and they were able to successfully locate the floating islands. Still, they gotta deal with the wind and climb up like thousands of feet or something. They can do it, I believe in them. Day 20, in the bag. Day 21, Rhinoceros. I was excited for this one because I can get back to drawing animals. However, spoiler alert, I have failed. I've already expected this, but the rhinoceros anatomy is hard. Still, I pushed through. I was not going to give up on this one. It's already day 21, and I'm not going to make an unnecessary big deal out of this. Sure, day 19 and 20 made me feel like but that's not going to stop me. I'm gonna finish this rhino, draw another in the future, and go, oh damn, look at the improvement. Also, I drew a baby rhino because of that baby rhino cage fail meme, and also because baby rhinos are cute. And day 22, camp. The first idea that came into my head was just to draw some tents, a campfire, trees, mountains again in the background, but no, I've drawn enough mountains. I gotta go beyond what I've already drawn. Then I remember what I did on day 16 where I colored the swamp and trees up. My imaginary verb, I know what we're gonna do today. For the final idea, I wanted to draw a starry night sky. I took a picture of myself as reference for this angle right here, drew a tent at the side, some grass, and then started filling up most of the page with black. I took out the printed prop again. I made the moon in advance so I don't have to worry about filling in white and wasting ink. I was really scared that I'd run out of the black color, so I was low-key panicking, but it worked out. It still fought for me. With the white pen, I added some small details surrounding the moon, the stars, some shooting stars, and all that stuff. This was a lot of fun to do, and this is actually my first time using the white pen this much, so it was definitely a good experience. Day 23, Rust. So for this one, I decided to draw my original character Shovel. There really isn't much to say here. I won't talk about my character too much, but he does use a shovel a lot for his work. I remember the time when I had a lot of fun designing the shovel and making all these small and sharp details around it, and it's rusting, so parts of it are getting kind of f***ed up. I'm glad I was able to incorporate one of my character's important aspects in this challenge. It gave me the opportunity to utilize my creations and see what they can become through the prompts. Day 23, 100% successful. Day 24, Expedition. Okay, so the floating island plot continues. I don't know what the I have going on with the floating islands, but it's working out for me, and it's fun. That's important. I really don't want this whole challenge to be stressful for me. As I've said in the intro, I'll enjoy this and not stress too much about it. I don't want to ruin the whole experience and have a bad relationship with art after all. Back to the artwork. Here I drew the girl from day 13 riding a dragon and flying above the floating islands. She's the first to reach the floating islands and is just currently exploring the different islands with a conveniently friendly dragon. I was really into the fantasy mood that day, so I was like, dragons. Yes, dragons. I also drew a lot of dragons when I was a kid, and I still do to this day. Dinosaurs as well. Lizards are just so cool to draw in my opinion. Anyways, that's day 24. Day 25. Scarecrow. I think we all know where this is going. Scarecrows are just my style. So this prompt was definitely one of the easier ones for me because I love horror. Now I know not all scarecrows are meant to be all horror, but I can't help but think of horror when I see one. So here we have a scarecrow tied up to its post with chains because it's a really wild one, but the chains are getting loose, so good luck to everyone having to deal with this piece. I really enjoyed the line art for this one. Every line art I've done so far in this challenge felt satisfying, but like the grungy prompt, there was something cool about doing line art for this one, especially with all the wheat and shading. I definitely had a blast drawing the wheat. There's something so fun about just quickly drawing lines and controlling the pressure to create this kind of leafy effect. Is that the term? Anyways, just this effect to show that it's wheat. Anyways, I was very satisfied with this piece and I'm tempted to make a story for this little guy. And that's day 25. Day 26, camera. For this one, I didn't want to draw just a regular modern camera we see. I wanted to draw a historical camera. Yeah, I kind of failed. Again, it's not the best. I know that I could have done better, and the fact that I had a reference made me feel sad about it for a bit. But still, I enjoyed working on it in the end. Day 27, road. So I wanted to work on my perspective again, practice, you know? And once again, mountains. Nope, I'm still not sick of them. To be honest, I thought I would, but no, I didn't. I enjoy drawing mountains, and there's something really satisfying about shading them and making them feel more, I don't know the term, but more like detailed. There's definitely a better term out there, but I will hope I was able to get like the message across. I enjoyed shading this one definitely, and I'm happy to see that I've improved in that aspect, as well as drawing backgrounds and making them feel more detailed, more fulfilling and such. I think I was able to convey that there was a slope in the road. Hopefully I did. Naturally, as the artist, of course, I know there's a slope, so I see it. But you know those moments when you don't see a mistake, but then you post it, and that's when you notice it? Those moments. or when someone points it out, and that's when you finally see it. Genuinely, thanks for looking out for me in advance, guys. So that's my issue now. Maybe I'll see that it's hard to tell if there is a slope later. Day 28. Jumbo. A person or thing that is very large. Not gonna lie, I was thinking of food when I read this. I just wanted a jumbo-sized portion of flan, but no. I had to stray from the tempting thoughts because I had to focus on this challenge. What can I turn jumbo-sized? The ability to avoid art blocks? Perhaps it's a jumbo-sized So I drew a whale. I drew the sun for reference to show how big it is compared to it. My brain eventually turned to animals, and the biggest mammal in the world is the blue whale. So what if I just make it bigger, is what my head formulated. And here it is. I definitely had a lot of fun with this one. I think it's cute, and I love drawing all these small details around the whale as it circles around the sun. And that's day 28. Day 29. Navigator. The floating islands plot is not over, folks. Here we have the pair of adventurers from day 14 continuing their journey. With the compass as their navigator, they will eventually reach the floating islands. There's not much to say about this one. I still don't know what is in the floating islands that made the 6 characters want to get there, but hey, they're all having a wonderful journey. Day 30. Violin. I don't usually draw instruments. I feel like I've only drawn instruments around like 10 to 15 times in my life, I don't know. I just know that I've drawn them less than 30 times. So this prompt was definitely a challenge for me, just what I want and need, to be honest. So basically, I've only ever drawn simple instruments. Now I know a violin looks complicated from what I can remember. It's a beautiful instrument, but I was a little intimidated when I read this prompt for the first time. But after looking up some reference, that feeling just disappeared. And here we have the violin. During the process, I made a mistake and drew the line too far, so I had to improvise, and this is what I came up with. Greenery and flowers always fixes things. Day 31, landmark. It's the last day. And damn, I actually reached day 31. I'm actually going to complete Inktober, holy f***. It feels surreal because I failed Inktober in the past. So to just reach this point, from ending at day 4 in the past to ending it at day 31 now feels awesome. And you know what else is the finale? It's the final episode of the Floating Island plot. All of our characters have finally reached the floating islands. Yay! And with that, Inktober is officially done. Okay, so reflection time. If you've reached this far into the video and decided to stick around to hear me talk about my thoughts on this whole challenge, I want to say thank you. It feels very fulfilling to be able to complete this challenge, especially for someone like me who procrastinates and just leaves some things unfinished, projects, works, etc. So being able to do this challenge made me feel proud of myself that I was able to do it. There were tough days like day 19 to 21. On day 19 and 20, I always said to myself that when you get home, draw, record, and do the challenge. I really wasn't feeling it, even when I finished all the work I needed to do those days. I didn't have the motivation. The ideas that came to mind weren't satisfactory, and I just didn't want to start drawing and mess up. Now, if this wasn't a challenge, plus the chronological order of the printed prompts, I'd really start drawing, to be honest, because practices come with mistakes, and you learn from those mistakes. Maybe I would have come up with an idea after doing the unsatisfactory ones. Perhaps it was the fact that I've made these rules for the challenge. That was one of the factors that made me feel like not drawing those days too. Still, I find it that I lack strength in that aspect because I wasn't able to overcome that issue. Art block. Oh, art block. Artists out there, I'm sure we all go through that. Even the best of the best out there. Of course, I don't expect myself to be perfect. No, hell no. No arrogant perfection here. I don't do that. The things I share in my content are to show my mistakes and share what I've learned. But I feel like I wasn't able to come up with a clear answer to the problems that I've encountered those days. I decided not to beat myself up too hard about it. It's not like this was the first time that happened, but I really didn't want to go through that while doing a challenge. It's a 31-day challenge. Of course, something like that will happen to someone like me. That's why I gotta work hard towards improvement and not do too much overthinking. The next topic, the drawings themselves. Judging myself, I really don't think I had a lot of great pieces, I guess. I love what I drew, don't get me wrong, I'm really happy with them. But from an objective analysis, there were notable mistakes and f***ed up line art. I could do better. I could get more creative, stuff like that. On the brighter side, there's more to add to my practice regimen. Plus, I really enjoyed the learning process, so it's a win, and I'll never stop learning. Now for my conclusion, these pieces weren't the best of the best. There were a lot I did consider to be good, but it's not jaw-dropping or really that amazing. Then I reminded myself of one of the most important points of this challenge. Did I enjoy it? Did I have fun? Was I happy? Yes. I'm proud of myself, even if others don't think so. I accomplished something, and this is one of the first steps for me to keep growing. Even though I had my ups and downs, I still enjoyed it overall. I was able to come back and bounce right back up. It made the frustrating moments fade away from me. Instead, those moments became a new motivation for me to do better. I'm proud of myself for not losing the will to do this challenge and making it to the end. Floating Island Saga, the mountains, my favorite ones, all of it. I'm happy! How many drawings are you gonna finish today? 31, baby! And I did it! Did it! The enjoyment, the excitement I got for finishing each piece, patting myself on the back for a job well done, and being able to complete an Inktober challenge for the first time ever made me feel so happy. And with that being said, I personally believe that I have successfully accomplished Inktober 2024. And that concludes my Inktober challenge video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have some tips and tricks you'd like to share, leave them in the comment section. Let's all help each other, fellow artists. If you'd like to see more content from me, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one. And if you guys want to watch the whole challenge without my commentary, please view this video. Bye-bye!